Just left my house, going to Australia.
Welcome to Modern Grand Tour with me, Garland Lowe. After completing the European leg of my round the world journey, we now arrive in the world's largest country, Russia. Riding the full length of the famous Trans-Siberian Railway, we'll couch surf with locals along the way to get an insider's view of the fascinating Russian culture. Beginning in the western part of this Eurasian country, my new Russian friends and I explore St. Petersburg, Moscow, Vladimir Suzdal, Nizhny Novgorod, Perm and Yekaterinburg. Then in the eastern part we discover Tobolsk and Tumen, Novosibirsk, Irkutsk and Okhotsk Island, Ulan-Ude, Khabarovsk and finally Vladivostok. In this 11th episode across Russia and the 19th in this Modern Grand Tour series, we'll learn about the history of the Trans-Siberian Railway, go through the practicalities of doing the journey and break down the costs. So let's explore life on the Trans-Siberian train. Here I am getting ready for my longest train ride in my life. I found a buddy from
Okhotsk Island.
Okhotsk Island. We did our tour together. Just bumped into him, and we're in the same carriage.
What do you know?
So for you, how many hours?
62 and a half.
62 and a half. So mine's around about 50. And when we boarded to settle down for the night, we were greeted with this. What the fuck is going on in there? That's mental.
Just there.
On the bright side, at least I was only next door, and not this poor fella who had to share that room with that family for potentially the next 3 days. The Trans-Siberian Railway, at over 9,000 kilometres and 8 time zones, is the single longest railway line in the world, and its journey begins in the late 1800s, because with Russia having already established a rail network in the European part of Russia, the impetus to extend was due to first wanting to exploit Siberia's natural resources, second wanting more emigration to Siberia due to the overpopulation of European Russia, and third the fear of Chinese invasion. So in Vladivostok in 1891, the future Tsar Nicholas II emptied a wheelbarrow of soil, ceremoniously marking the Trans-Siberian Railway's construction. Thereupon, labourers, many of whom were prisoners, worked simultaneously on different segments of the track, cutting through forests, building bridges over rivers and blowing up mountains. Finally, after 25 years, in 1916, the completion of the Khabarovsk Bridge connected Moscow to Vladivostok via one continuous train track, and the journey that had previously taken 11 months on horseback could now be done in 2 weeks. Russia was forever changed, due to goods like coal, grain and timber being transported east to west, whilst people such as migrants, soldiers and tourists travelled west to east. Today, the Trans-Siberian Railway journey has 3 other popular variations. They are the Trans-Manchurian, which cuts into China, the Trans-Mongolian, which drops down into Mongolia, and the Baikal-Amur mainline, which heads into slightly more northern Russia. Having chosen the classic route, I was now on the segment of the journey that was branching into its own Trans-Siberian character. So on my journey this far, this has been the best view of Russia's landscape I've seen on the trains. We're so close to the river, we're right on the edges. Wow, look at that. Just the train's like tied to the river, and the snow just makes it look awesome. It's pretty nuts.
Right, so we're in Chita. We just thought we'd get off because we've got a 20-minute break, stretch our legs, be in the snow, get some fresh air because it is quite warm and a bit claustrophobic, so it's nice just to get out. Having said that, in about 10 minutes or less, I'm going to start complaining about how cold I am and then want to get back on the train. We've lucked out because the rail station and the city centre are pretty much one. And I'm guessing this is all you see in Chita. So this is the, I don't know what this is, but Matthew's taking a photo. He'll tell me, I'm sure. He's an expert on Russian history.
You know, I just finished a book about the guy who takes the Trans-Siberian Railroad, and he described Chita as a satanic city full of smokestacks. So this is really exceeding my expectations.
So, well, yeah, totally, absolutely. So this is paradise. Let's say about another 8 minutes, and then we're going to, because the last thing we want to do is get stuck here with all our stuff on the train.
I think that's just the right amount of time for Chita.
Yeah, you're right. So there you go, Chita. We came, we saw, and we took some video.
Back on the train, it was time to relax, because there really isn't much else to do on a train, but at least I could relax in what I considered my posh second-class compartment. So here's a quick breakdown about class on the railways. First-class compartments, known as SV in Russian, is a 2-berth compartment, and this 50-hour journey would cost around £220. Second class, or coupe, is a 4-berth compartment, and cost me £100. And lastly, third class, or Platzkart, is a shared carriage, and for the same journey costs just £40. Now, before boarding this train, I had been riding in third class, but with this journey being 2 full days and not just an overnight, I didn't mind spending a little more for added security, privacy and comfort.
I've just realised I've even got a little light.
Now, as I watch Russia go by through my bedroom window, here's the garden lowdown on the practicalities of doing the journey. When to buy tickets. If it's the summer, it's considered safer to book them 2 weeks ahead. If it's not the summer, you can buy them at the time of departure, either online or at the station. Where to buy tickets? Go to the official Russian Railways website and click on the Union Jack to take you to the excellent English language booking page. Once you've purchased your ticket, print or download as a PDF. How do stopovers work? You have to buy tickets for the city you want to get off at, and then again and again, until you reach your final destination. It's not a one-ticket, hop-on, hop-off affair. Now, my top 5 tips, based on my own mistakes. 1. Don't book a bed by the toilet, because people opening and closing the carriage door will annoy you. 2. Bring flip-flops to save yourself having to put your shoes on every time you want to go to the toilet. 3. When booking online, spell Belogorsk without the letter K, because the website doesn't recognise it. 4. Bring a power bank and multi-adapter, and avoid fighting for a charge point. 5. Go to Kazan, because although it's not on the main Trans-Siberian line, it was a place all my couchsurfing hosts said I should have gone to, due to its different Islamic culture. So there you have it. Send me a postcard and give me a privet. Not that kind.
Day on the train. Yeah, it was alright actually. Really big all in all, which was my biggest fear. So all in all, a good first day on the train. So I think I'm now going to have a bit of a rest. And yeah, day 2 tomorrow. Day 2, and let's tuck into breakfast.
Katya just taught me some Russian, and I've just learnt how to say "Ya lublю lapsha."
It's like a big drink of water, you know. It's a big breath of fresh air.
Oh, that is really good, isn't it?
A big sip, right? Yeah.
Why is that so good? That's
right into the
amazing.
lungs.
I like drugs. Actually, really suck it in, not just like keep your mouth, just like suck it in.
I feel like you get lightheaded really fast.
Now high on life, we ventured into the restaurant carriage where we made the most of our Russian rubles. First with Connect 4, Then this football game I used to play in primary school.
Oh, look at that!
A bit of poker.
That's it, I'm out, game over. I have pocket rockets.
And finally, some dinner.
Dinner time, so I decided to push the boat out and buy something to eat. I ordered a cucumber separately, like one side, and tomatoes as one side, 35p each. So this is what a combined total of, let's say, 70p buys you on the Trans-Siberian Railways. 2 slices of cucumber, and that's 1 slice of tomato. That's why I've been eating so many noodles.
Now imagine if I wanted a whole cucumber. On the subject of expense, here's the final part of the Garden Lowdown. How much does the Trans-Siberian journey cost? Starting from St. Petersburg, which is technically not part of the Trans-Siberian line, the typical cost if you were to maximise your 30-day Russian visa is this. The train journey done entirely in 3rd class is £200. Food at £15 a day is £450. General tourism such as museums and public transport at £5 a day is £150. And if you're not couch surfing like I was, then a hostel at £10 a night for roughly 20 nights, taking into account you also sleep on the train, is £200. So the total Trans-Siberian cost for 30 days is roughly £1,000, which compared to tour agent prices is super cheap. So there you have it. Now remember, don't scrimp on my postcard.
Quickly got off just to stretch my legs, and Matthew's just stayed in there, so he's going to just say hello. We're going to say hello, and then we're going to go. At Belogorsk station, as you can see from there, and there's a golden Lenin. Vladimir Ilyich Lenin. So there you go, I've got his full name. It's the first golden Lenin I've seen. Even the other passengers on the train, they're equally impressed. Look at this guy here. Hey! Look, we all want a piece of Lenin.
And so, in the morning, as we fittingly rode over the Khabarovsk Bridge, Russia's longest bridge and the last part to be completed on the Trans-Siberian Railway, I could reflect that my 2 days on the Trans-Siberian train was more fun than I'd expected, and that was due to bumping into this guy. For those not lucky enough to have a Matthew, I would recommend a decent sized book and some earplugs.
It's been a pleasure, Matthew. I'll see you.
Join me in the next episode of Modern Grand Tour, where we'll officially be in the Russian Far East, in the city of Khabarovsk, and where we'll learn about the Soviet-Japanese War of World War II, ask why Russians are seemingly not happy.
So when you're happy and when you're smiling and this stuff, you look weird. Like a weirdo.
And of course, meet a dog called John. So until next time, Godspeed.